This is a 2010 Panamera Turbo 970, Porsche 970. We're doing a brake job. We've removed the wheel already. Before we lifted the vehicle, we put it in a service mode for the air suspension. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is remove the brake wear pad sensor. This one you can see this is the wire, so the rotor cuts into the sensor when the pad gets too small. And if you trace that line, it goes to this connector here. Okay, there. So we popped it out. This tab releases basically the inside connector. So that's how that works. All right, next we're going to remove two caliper bolts, the top one and the lower one. Torx 60 caliper bolts. I'm going to use this caliper bit socket set, and I have new bolts here. I have new caliper bolts, and the part number for this is right there. When you're removing these torque bolts, make sure you have the socket all the way in and that you are perpendicular to the bolt. And these are torqued down at 104 foot-pounds, so you know you'll need some force to get them off. Okay, once you've got the caliper bolts off, there's still going to be friction and pressure from the pad and it's gripping onto the caliper, to the rotor. So I would apply pressure to the top here and pressure to the bottom on the rear here, and just do a twisting motion from top to bottom so that you can alleviate the pressure from the caliper squeezing onto the rotor, and you can get it off a little easier. All right, next you're going to remove the this is the brake line. So there's a clip here. You're gonna remove this clip so that this line will come free from the bracket. All right, here's how the brake line looks with the clip removed. This is the brake line. You're going to disconnect the brake line. Here we have the caliper off the vehicle. The brake line was disconnected. There's the brake line. We're going to spread these pads apart so that we can make enough clearance for the new pads. Okay, so the pads are in. Now we're going to install the new sensor. The thick part goes towards the pad. And here. Okay, there we have the brake pad wear sensor evenly spaced into the pad. Alright, there we go, tidied up, ready to go. Alright, we're going to start to put the brake line. The next thing is we're going to return the brake pad sensor wire. We're going to connect that back up. So here it is. Okay, so I've cleaned this up a little bit. So here's the clip that we're going to put back here. The smaller part goes around the brake line, like that, and then the larger part goes in here. Alright, nice and neat. And start by hand tightening them first, so you know you're not cross-threading them. Okay, that's very important so that you don't mess up the threads in this very soft aluminum control arm. Okay, I got my trusty Craftsman torque wrench. I'm going to set this to 104 foot-pounds and torque up these bolts. Alright, when you're torquing these down, make sure you do an even torque. So tighten this, then tighten this, tighten this, tighten this, tighten this, and alternate the tightening until you get that, you know, the torque bolt click. All right, so that's 104 foot-pounds. 104 foot-pounds. The next thing is we're gonna loosen these, this and that brake bleeder screws, and we're gonna bleed this out. And you know, I saw another video on YouTube that said that this is the brake fluid reservoir. This is not the brake fluid reservoir. This is the power steering fluid, okay? Do not put brake fluid in the power steering fluid. The brake fluid is over here. This is the brake fluid, and you can be certain of that because it says .4 brake fluid, okay, on the cap. All right, so that's where you put it. All right, so I've got my brake bleed contraption here. I'm just gonna give it some pressure and just bleed this guy out. Basically, you want to just make sure you pull enough fluid so that there's no bubbles. Porsche uses Akibono brakes for the turbo. Okay guys, thanks for watching.